Hi, Dr. David here. I'd like to answer a viewer's question today, and that is if one considers sex under the influence of marijuana to be chemsex. And that goes to the definition of chemsex, right? Chemsex is that ritualized use of certain substances along with sexual behavior that's done over and over repeatedly so that those two become basically fused together so that one without the other becomes uninteresting or doesn't work. A lot of chemsex users, for example, can't have sex unless they're high. And so that point, it's not just using drugs around like having a glass of wine before sex or smoking a joint before sex. That's not really the definition of chemsex. All that said, chemsex, by definition, typically involves the use of amphetamines, such as cocaine, methamphetamine, mephedrone, and more, which is more popular in the UK and Europe than in the United States. But so it's that use of amphetamines which really drives up both the release of a lot of adrenaline and dopamine. It gives a very specific high that is associated with that sexual release. Cannabis can often be included in the chemsex ritual. So, for example, somebody may be using one of those amphetamines, cocaine or meth or mephedrone, with sex, but maybe they loosen up, start their addictive pattern by maybe smoking a joint just to loosen up. Very oftentimes we see also amphetamine users who use it with sex have a couple drinks to loosen up and disinhibit. So it's not that cannabis or alcohol for that matter can't be part of that addictive ritual, but by definition, if it's simply marijuana or cannabis, it isn't really classically considered chemsex. Now, I do want to say that the kind of cannabis that we're seeing these days has been repeatedly cross-strained and refined in such a way that it's extremely powerful drug. This is not the cannabis that I had back in college some years ago, which was pretty weak and lousy compared to the very refined strains that we see today. It's very powerful. It can be very psychotic inducing. It can be very addictive for that matter. But when it comes to combining that drug, cannabis, with sex, it isn't really classically considered chemsex because it doesn't involve really that use of amphetamines. That's really the classic hallmark. Not that I'm not going to say that we should be cautious and leery, because I've seen people get in trouble simply by smoking cannabis and involving that with looking at porn, for example. That maybe down the road in some years that might even be considered chemsex, but by strict definition today it's not. But that said, just beware, because some of the cannabis we see today is extremely strong and can be highly enticing. Dr. David here signing out.